We are all live. Good to see you, everybody. Let me try adding something to the broadcast to see if I'm seeing all of the comments coming in. Hey, Jules. Thanks for joining us and dropping in a comment so quickly. That's fantastic. Over to you for an introduction, Lux.
Beautiful. Sorry, I was busy confirming if you're live. For some reason, I still need to go to the channel, see it live, and touch, feel it digitally to know that we are live.
It's called trust issues.
It's called trust issues. Please tell me you have them as well.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. And if you've been here before, you kind of know the drill. We catch up every week, riff on a whole bunch of things, have conversations we used to anyway, except now we are doing it live. And I don't think it's changed anything in terms of how we do it. So quick introductions. I'm Lux Narayan. I'm a co-founder and the CEO at StreamAlive. And StreamAlive was the excuse where through which I met these fine gentlemen. So I'm looking at it from left to right on my end. John, over to you.
Well, I'm John Idelson, and I'm professor emeritus, failing retirement, and doing a lot of volunteer work with the California State Parks and helping Zoom. That will pass on to the next.
Hey everyone, Said from Germany here. And yeah, you can call me the facilitator. You don't have to. You can call me Said if you like. And yeah, my mission is to support others in making their Zoom meetings or even Microsoft Teams meetings less cringy and more fun and enjoyable, and handing it over to, of course, the wrong direction there.
Always the wrong direction, yeah. So I'm Martin, and live streaming is what I'm doing these days after moving on from IT, and all of the design work you're seeing going around things today is done in Ecamm, and that's done by me. So if it screws up, it's my fault. And Said just likes to unbalance things by having his name as the facilitator, which would totally mess up my lovely, fairly balanced names down below. So he's not getting it. He's Said today.
Well, I'm glad to hear there's life after IT.
I don't know whether there is or not yet.
I hope none of the folks at Zoom can hear you right now, John. So.
No, I'm talking about myself. I was, as a professor, though, I was the troublemaker. So eventually, the one that the IT department hated because I had servers under my desk and stuff like that. And eventually they pulled me over and I started working for them. And I have a lot of respect for IT departments, particularly when they have weird professors.
Martin, do you mind for folks? I had this question from someone earlier. Just very briefly explaining what's happening here, because we're streaming. You're from Ecamm. You're going on to we're doing this on Restream, and then we're streaming onto multiple places. And I'll botch it up if I even try. So I'm going to leave it to you.
Okay, so we're running Ecamm Live streaming software, and that is connected to Zoom. And my guests are all coming in via Zoom, so they've just joined a Zoom call. Nothing more complicated than that for them. They've just pressed a button, joined a Zoom call, like every other Zoom call, but it doesn't look like a Zoom call because I can reconfigure things in Ecamm Live to place the cameras wherever I want on the screen and place all of this lovely goodness around us as well, and bring in the comments in nice fancy fashion and things like that. So that's all happening within Ecamm. From Ecamm, what we're doing is we are live streaming out to Restream, because that allows us to fire out the stream to multiple channels at once. So we can go to Lux's profile, we can go to Said's profile or Said's YouTube. I believe it's on Said's YouTube today, and indeed anybody else's channels, regardless of where they are. So we fire out to Restream, and then Restream pushes it out to those other locations. And from those other locations, we can bring in all of the comments, and we can use those comments to drive the StreamAlive interactions as well. So it's a complete loop, and it's like a pyramid of us going out all over the world, and we can bring everything back in again and drive all the interactions. So it's pretty cool. I don't think many people are doing anything quite as advanced as this with layering everything together. But when you do, it's pretty cool when it all works, and we press all the right buttons.
Which one is it? Is it a pyramid or a loop? Because I'm getting mixed signals here.
Well, I do think you're the only one who's doing this complicated of a system. And what's great for us panelists is that we're in a Zoom meeting. So whatever you're sending on the stream, we still could see the faces of the other people when I get a frown when I tell a bad joke. But there are a lot of people who are doing this, sending it out. I think what's unique about what we're doing here is the ability to take all the chat and all of the magic that StreamAlive has. So we full interactivity at each end. We feel really engaged as the participants, but the users are completely able to sound off, as it were.
So if there was somebody in New Jersey, I can bring in the comment from New Jersey. It's one of our regular fans, I think.
Hey, Tina.
Does it also work for Brooklyn?
No. Oh, sometimes.
Martin, curious, are you seeing a comment from Denise? I'm very glad to have her join us as well. Denise is, as some of you might know, quite a well-known name in space. And I think she typed it on... I'm confused with all the channels you're going on. I think she's on the StreamAlive or my... mic is messed up.
You've undone your microphone, Lux. I'm not quite sure what you've done when you put your headphones on, but your microphone disappeared.
Is this better?
Yes.
I should just have left things as they are. I don't know why I have this bad habit of changing things midstream. Okay. So, are you
the habit of every guest? They change.
Yep. Anyway, but I saw Denise's comment there. Denise, thank you for joining us. And Martin, what you described is I think very different, complex as it is. It sounds complex, but once in the right hands, we took about 2 minutes to get ready and get the stream going, which is quite amazing. And with everyone's permission, now later I would love to test some other stuff. We actually pushed something on our Chrome extension this morning, and Prudence says that we should have probably tested it ourselves internally before getting it live over here. But folks who've been here before know that we like to test things live, break things live, and we've done our fair share of that. So for the first time ever, I would like to see if we can get the LinkedIn chat to power a PowerPoint slide. So Martin, tell me, is now a good time? Should we do that later? What do you think?
Yeah, I can do that now. Why don't you flick on and share your screen, and I will move to a transition, and then we'll all see it.
There we are. Perfect. And Said's favorite statement, can you see my screen? Can you see my stream? All of that, yes. Whoa, look at that. Thank you. All right, so he was ready for that, absolutely, yeah. So what I've got here is actually pretty interesting. I've got plain old PowerPoint. This is a presentation I use often when I talk about one of my new favorite topics, which is this thing called the textrovert effect. So this is my deck for the textrovert effect, and I have, of course, a lot of interactions peppered in between my talking slides. And what I did just before the session, about 30 seconds before we went live, was connected this slide, and I don't want to disconnect at this point because if it's not broken, don't fix it, like my mic. But I want to see how it works live, and just to explain what's happening here, this is currently connected to Restream. So my PowerPoint slide is reading off the Restream chat, and just if people are wondering what that looks like, that is simply the chat over here in Restream, which is pulling the chat from all the different places that people are typing in. And my Chrome extension here, StreamAlive's Chrome extension, is reading that and sending it back to PowerPoint. So in effect, my PowerPoint slide is being authored by what the audience is typing in LinkedIn Live. And thank you so much. Is that Neil? Yep, there it is. So Neil just typed, how do you pronounce it? Is it Coimbra? Martin, would you know? Is that how
Yeah,
you
that's
pronounce Neil?
correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And let's change that to centigrade, 30 degrees over there. Neil, we're missing you. Hope all's well. Good to have you join. That's what Coimbra looks like, if anyone's curious. Uh, Folks on the chat, anyone on LinkedIn, if you don't mind typing where you're joining from in the chat and helping us test this, we're going to have a bit of fun. And you are making history because for the first time, LinkedIn live chat is authoring a PowerPoint slide. I geek off on this, but I think it's pretty cool to suddenly have the chat. Of course, latency is something we still need to solve because LinkedIn already has a fair amount of latency. And we've got someone.
Marianne has joined us all the way from Sydney. Don't know what time of day it is in Sydney, Marianne. Oh, it can't be a nice time of day. It's only 14.2 degrees.
I just commented, but maybe I'm on the wrong channel. So I'm on the StreamAlive LinkedIn channel.
So, interestingly enough, I'm not seeing anything come through from Denise, who you mentioned earlier on, in the Restream chat at all.
That's interesting. Is there a limitation on Restream in the number of streams from which it pulls chat? I don't think there is because
No, there shouldn't be.
shouldn't be, right?
Yours is a paid account, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there shouldn't be.
And this is the one I was referring to. So if you see, there's a comment here from Denise on this stream. Only I don't know which stream it is, if it's the one on my page or StreamAlive's page. I would attribute that to a bug in Restream because StreamAlive is going to pull everything that it sees in Restream. So if Restream pulls it, it should be there, but we still need to figure out why that is missing. Are there more locations coming in? Oh, we got some more. Okay. Thank
Yep.
you. Oh, Tina wants to be in Edinburgh. She's been talking about missing, being there for the Fringe a couple of years ago. And I know, Martin, you leave town when the Fringe happens.
I just stay on the outskirts of town. Don't go in when it's happening.
I'm going to be brave now and test it with the globe and see if that works too.
So we should have
Oh, we
Quebec
have
in there as well. Good.
Yep.
Jules
So
is in
Jules is joining
Quebec.
us. I need to always remember to move from centigrade to Fahrenheit when I move from Canada to the States. So. And Sai, did you put something just now?
Yeah,
Don't-
so Martin just showed it. I commented on my own YouTube channel because on LinkedIn it didn't work. It didn't show up.
And
So I can
yes,
see it. I can see it in the Restream convoluted chat, but I don't know.
I've always had issues with LinkedIn live chat, and I think we talked about this last time, where it's kind of ironic that in the LinkedIn live chat, everybody sees a subset of the chat. Everybody does not see the entire universe of all chat, including the presenter, which is weird. But I thought they were giving 100% of the chat to platforms like StreamYard and Restream. It looks like that might also not be the case, is my only guess right now. I don't know if you folks have
Probably
different thesis.
only with premium. Otherwise, you only get every third chat message. So it's an upselling mechanism. I was just joking.
An upselling mechanism, it could be. But I can see that Tina's conversation or comment saying, is the Fringe on in Edinburgh? That came through LinkedIn. Because on the Restream chat, if you look carefully, the LinkedIn icon is next to that particular comment. Most of the others are coming in through YouTube.
Got it. And I think that's where StreamAlive picked up the Edinburgh. I'd assume that since she mentioned the city, that's where she is, and it just pulls her up over here. So it looks like some comments are coming through, but not all.
Interestingly, Tina mentioned Edinburgh twice. Once on YouTube and once on LinkedIn. So I don't know which one, whether the LinkedIn one has picked up.
Okay,
in
that
the chat
explains
or
it.
not.
Probably picked up the YouTube one, yes.
Yeah. So if we could try, if somebody's on LinkedIn and they can try popping a location in from
I found
LinkedIn.
Tina. I just found Tina, so she is on your YouTube, on your LinkedIn, so you're on your profile on Lux. I was in the official StreamAlive account, which is also streaming. I was alone there. So now I can see at least Tina's comments there.
But it's still not showing up on Restream, I'm guessing. I could actually alt tab and look at it on, we could look at it on Restream together, since that's part of the spirit of the stream, show people what's happening behind the scenes. And over here,
So Zaid,
no, we're not.
if you can type in again Paris or something like that from the LinkedIn
Which
chat.
one? Or doesn't?
Well, try them both. And
Okay, this is Paris Lux account, and this is London from my live account.
Yeah, it did pick it up.
It picked up one.
Yes,
So
it said,
which one is it?
it said Paris Lux for a second.
Yeah, that was your on your account, on your profile.
Got it, so that's working. Interesting. And Denise is, I think, on the StreamAlive page, so maybe that's the one that's not sending comments back for some reason, or not sending all comments back for some
Yeah,
reason.
I just tried Hi from Monterey. Did that one show up yet?
I shall
It-
fly across the
it
Atlantic,
has.
and let you know in a second. Afraid not, John. Where did you type that?
no, I've seen it now.
But regardless of everything, I'm, I understand the concept of streaming to everybody and their grandmother. But I personally, I find it like it's more cozy if it's for me it's YouTube, if everyone's in the same like chat, and you can also have like side conversations and other things rather than like streaming to 27 different locations. But that's just me. So as a viewer, okay, I want to know where the people actually are, so we can like have a little conversation and don't feel alone in one of the streams.
I would totally agree with that, because for all the reasons you mentioned, Said, because you have that sense of being in the same room in a sense. We have gone the other extreme simply because we're just trying to populate the channels with examples on each one. So someone says, hey, how does this work on Twitch? And guess what? This stream is running on Twitch as well. And we say it's exactly this way. I don't think anyone's typing on Twitch. If you are on Twitch, please type something. But at least there is a body of work which is on the channel. So that's the only reason. And I keep debating, maybe we shouldn't do that. But right now, I'm just trying to get something going on every channel. If I was actually doing it as a streamer for my own thing, I would probably stick to just one, exactly like you said, for all those reasons. Yeah, you got Monterey here, John.
Good. Well, I actually think it's very clever that, I'm not sure I would do them all at once, but a lot of groups I work with, tend to either use one or another. They'll either use the YouTube. We have one group that uses its own discussion channel, so it's good to let other people in who aren't onto that one. Their discussion channel has a fairly high barrier of entry, so this way they could add the YouTube or a LinkedIn. So I like the ability that you're able to cross some of the platforms. Because hardest thing to do is there are a lot of people who use a platform, but they go into a meeting and you say, well, just load this, and they don't want to do that. But they're comfortable if you say, well, if you have this, you already have it loaded. Let's rock and roll.
True. And
But
yeah.
But also, I think there's the point of I agree. I mean, giving people choices. Especially if someone is not on LinkedIn, they cannot see the stream if you're on. You don't have to be on YouTube. Actually, you can watch everything on YouTube. It's not like hidden or behind some kind of wall. But anyhow, so even if it's like on LinkedIn and there's the same thing like streaming on 7 different accounts. I mean, that makes it a bit more complicated. The same for YouTube. If you have like the same stream but on 12 different accounts. Probably depends on how large the audience of the single like streamers is, and if there are enough people in each chat to keep the thing alive.
Makes sense.
And since we're sort of testers here, it'd be interesting to see the difference in the delay, because the YouTube is different than the LinkedIn and different than if you were actually zooming from a Zoom account
Oh, yeah.
or viewing from a Zoom account.
One of the reasons I love doing it on a Zoom account simply because the latency is close to zero. And the others, yeah, I mean, LinkedIn is, I think, the worst in terms of latency. Twitch is probably the best, Twitch and Kick. And YouTube is in between, depending on your settings, I would think. I'm just feeling a little brave here, so I'm going to click on create from responses and see if this works as well. And yeah, you got all the names of everyone who was counted. Of course, I have to spin a wheel if it's there. Look at that. You got Said Saduk, you got the facilitator. Said's rigged this entire wheel.
I guess weighted
But
towards
probably.
Said.
And
Very
I was just
suspicious, very suspicious.
and I'm sorry, I was just counting, like measuring visually, and it was like a minute and a half until like my little thing popped up on LinkedIn. So I counted until, I don't know, 107 Mississippi, and then it showed up, which is
Wow.
a lot of, I think, 1.5 minutes is a lot even for LinkedIn.
Yeah, that sounds pretty high. Yeah. It's very difficult to do a live stream with engagement if you're doing a 1.5 minute lag.
I'm just impressed
Anyway,
that the guy from Germany says 1 Mississippi to count minutes.
Yeah, that's how I learned it. I don't know what the German version would be. I don't know.
cool. Thank you,
One,
folks, for
one Gesundheit, two Gesundheit.
Yeah, that would also work. No, I think we say like 1,000, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, but in German, of course, I think that's the rhythm to keep up with.
So, Lux, it appears that this actually worked.
it actually worked. And we did it in public and it worked fine. And I feel good. This is nice.
It worked-ish.
It worked-ish.
That's
Yeah.
100% in my book.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, very thrilled about it. First time ever a PowerPoint slide written by the LinkedIn live chat. I just love the feeling of that. Okay. Martin, you are our class monitor. Are
Yeah,
we
so
getting too much
Ju-
off topic?
no. Jules was asking, is this the best looking wheel you can make? So the answer is, for the moment, yes. However, you can put that wheel on and create, depending on the streaming software you've got, you can have different backgrounds behind it, and you can have green screen behind it, or you can use different effects in your live streaming package to overlay it in different ways as well. So there's quite a lot you can do with the wheel. I'm badgering Lux into giving us even more effects for these type of things, but they all take time to produce.
Spot on, Martin. So, time to produce, and actually, the majority of the time is time to test, which is testing for every single environment, making sure it works fine, because weird things break everywhere. But to Jules' question and to show what Martin was talking about, you could change the themes. You could make the background look different. So, there's a whole bunch of themes that you can choose and do that. But the wheel looks the same everywhere. So something Martin and other users have been asking is for the granularity to control the colors of the wheel. Like if you have two brand colors, don't make it a multicolored rainbow wheel, make it just those two colors. And that is work in progress. So Martin even gave us a whole bunch of interesting designs and said, okay, I expect these by the next Monday. And I think he said by
Still
Monday. He
waiting.
didn't say which Monday. So we're taking advantage of that actually. Yeah. Let me move this back to what it was. And yep. So you can change the background right now. Wheel colors, not so much yet. The wheel is the only one which doesn't have the granularity to change colors, because with the other interactions, you can change a lot more things on the colors of each interaction and everything. So I could change the color of the pole and everything. With the wheel, there's less control, but changing soon.
Well, if I could put my 2 cents in, I'd have the wheel look like the wheel in a slot machine, where it's just the name spinning across.
This is a spinning reel, by the way.
Spinning
Sounds
wheel.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we give it. We actually that's also a work in progress feature that we're calling jumping jackpot, but I think we should call it spinning reel. It has a nicer thing to it. And the idea is right now it's a wheel that's spinning around this axis, right? We should create something for both the other two axes as well. So this one is like a spinning reel as it was just christened. And if you put the axis this way, it's like a merry-go-round carousel. So you could do that as well. So I think it'll be fun to have all of that. I mean, wheels evoke memories of childhood.
Well, if
And
you want, what do they call it? Feature creep. If it was the horizontal one and you had the faces that people had in their Zoom account, then it could be spinning faces going around, even more fun.
next, you're going to ask for those faces to be on horses so that it's a true merry-go-round.
Yeah.
Don't hold yourself back, John. You can ask for it.
But taking it a step back, I think one of the problems with the wheel format, as it is at the moment in general, is that if you fill it full of lots of names, or somebody's got a really short name and somebody's got a really long name, it just all messes up. It's never ever going to work particularly well. So if somebody's got a very, very long name and it crops it off, or someone's got a short name, or there's too many names in the wheel so you can't read them, or there's just one or two in the wheel, none of those look particularly good. It becomes much easier, I would think, for the coders to just do a list of names in a reel, and then they can include all the avatars as well as it goes past slot machine style. And so, yeah, pull the handle and
Totally.
round it goes.
I think Said had one of those as well, right? Said, I remember you showing us one. You had a slot machine.
Yeah, I wouldn't say coded one because that would be like too much, but I actually have one that I used for at least once, and it took me so much time, but it actually works, and it is a real thing. Haha, sorry for the pun. Yeah, and actually, like you just described it, having like faces of the people spinning and the name in small tags and a few other details just for the. But I did it just for the fun of it, for a giveaway, or for an event where we had some giveaways.
But I think that it lets us know one of the powers. I mean, we should go, why is this a good idea? People like seeing their name on the screen, and it gives that level of connection. And I've done this in a group where they maybe slow down the wheel to make sure their name was there. Martin was saying they couldn't see it because there were too many names. And I'd say, I want to make sure my name is there.
Funny you say that because I've had people do exactly that when the wheel stops. They're looking for their name to make sure that it was actually there, yeah. Someone told me this, the sweetest word in any language is your name, and people love to see it, right? So that simple tacit acknowledgement is I think a great way to present, which is also a nudge for Martin to steer us back to course and tell us, hey guys, you're right now behaving like American politicians who, given a question, will answer anything except that question. So
Yeah. No, I was using the spinning wheel with a couple of guests, and one of my guests, Claire, just said, I'm going to do this all day now, I'm just going to do this all day. Because she's got her own community, and of course you recognise all the names in the community, and to see them all spinning around and then somebody getting jumped out was great. The same person won like 3 times in a row, though, which is a bit mysterious. But we're not quite sure why, but they did. But they had great fun with the spinning wheel. Couldn't believe that they were doing this, and never done anything like that in their community before. And there's 6,000 people in their community.
wow.
And it doesn't have to be for a prize. I used, prior to this, spinning wheel was a random name generator for classes, where in classes you have those people who are always raising their hand, and you have those people who don't speak up in class. So this is a forced way. And also, when we were preparing for quizzes, we would do quiz prep, and we would, ask a question and let people raise their hand. But I said it's more fun if we just randomly pick, which meant everybody was studying the questions beforehand. So there's a really good instructional design, some engagement activities just with this one device. But I agree with Martin. pastels aren't my colors. So I want to be able to be color coded like you do with the rest of the images that you have.
Yeah, coming soon.
So
You know,
just
go on, Mark.
replay what you've just shown us there in terms of what you did, Lux. So you had PowerPoint. Where was the PowerPoint and how did you connect it to StreamAlive?
So I'm here inside of PowerPoint. My PowerPoint slide I've pre-created with a bunch of StreamAlive interactions. So I've got my talking slides, my listening slide, talking slide, talking slide, listening slide, listening slide, talking slide. It's like a conversation. And I can go to any of my StreamAlive slides, which are the listening slides, and connect it to Zoom, Teams, YouTube, in person, or if I click on Show More platforms, this is the new thing that we just launched with the new Chrome extension. It detects the fact that I've got Restream open on my browser. So since my Chrome browser is running Restream, in fact, I think it's running a couple of instances of Restream. It's got it here, it's got it in the studio. The Chrome extension picks up the fact that there is Restream here, sends that back to PowerPoint. So that's why it's got this little green dot saying it's active. And all I need to do is click on it. It automatically pulls up the correct URL for the Restream stream. And I might have done this maybe 5 minutes before the session, in which case I just say schedule session. I could put it for a time for later. And when I'm ready, I simply say start reading responses. And at this point, this slide is going to be populated by what comes up in the chat. So again,
So that's
like you talk about your chat anywhere, right? Yeah.
but that's super
But
clever.
you
And
already had the other ones open though, right? So this was just adding that. Up to this point, you were still getting input from the other chats, correct?
Oh, I disconnected that, John. So as we were
You
talking, I
disconnected that,
actually I
okay.
disconnected just to, yeah. Martin, you were
And
asking.
so another question. So
Uh-huh.
all you had to do is have the web browser open and have your PowerPoint open, and then the PowerPoint with your plugin saw what was on your browser screen.
Absolutely, exactly that. Yes.
That's very clever.
I also noticed that it got a dot next to LinkedIn as well.
Should we try that out?
Yeah, that I'd be curious. Now, if you have one there, let's add LinkedIn and see what happens.
So it's one at a time. So it's either Restream, which is taking everything, or I could say go to LinkedIn
Yeah.
and okay. So it's not exactly. So LinkedIn is, it says enter a valid link, as you can see. Not sure why it says that, but let's try and go there manually and pull it up. So if you were to pull the actual live event, there I got an event happening here, and let me see if that link works. So we probably have some work to do on the LinkedIn. You can see that it's taking a slightly different URL structure here. So this is one of the recurring issues we have with LinkedIn with the URL thing. I'm actually taking the live URL from the event right now, and as you can see, that doesn't work either. So some TBD issues on LinkedIn. I've never used it on a LinkedIn live session before, and the main reason for that was because I wouldn't get all the comments on my stream. I would see only a subset of the comments. Somebody else would see more comments. It's just too weird. So even if I did exclusively LinkedIn, I would route it through Restream because that was, believe it or not, more reliable. But yeah, it would have to work in exactly the same way.
And you've got your little dot next to your YouTube there as well, just so people can see that it's automatically picking up from whatever's on your Chrome browser. It's just saying, hey, all of these are live. Which one do you want to go to? That's got a green dot on it, basically.
Exactly. In fact, it pulls it off for Google Meet as well. So there's an alternative way of connecting with Google Meet, but we don't want to confuse everybody with, hey, do this or do that. But anything browser-based that StreamAlive supports, it should be able to pull it up. So Kick, I tested with Kick. I've tried it with Adobe Connect and with WebEx, and personally, I've tried those three in the last 2 weeks, and they work beautifully. Kick is almost instant.
If only anybody was actually on there as a platform.
Yep.
Well, maybe just none of us. We're wrong. We're in the wrong
Yeah,
time of life to be on
I
Kick,
guess so.
possibly.
But this is actually going to Kick as well. So if anyone's listening on Kick, please make your presence known. So so that is one way to make a presentation not boring, right? Keep talking about spinning wheels and keep spinning wheels through the entire presentation. Uh,
But
no, but
we now have spinning wheels. We have question and answer as well, so you can do a quiz. So in terms of interactions, and John was talking about different ways of doing things. Maybe you could have the quiz. What topic should we be looking at next, or maybe that becomes a bar chart or something like that. So there's lots of options to use these, not just for to sort of single dynamic answers to questions, but also to drive the lesson or live stream or whatever it is in the direction that people want it to go, rather than just doing a unidirectional presentation. This is what we're presenting today. Well, we can be a bit more flexible. Which one of the following four do you want us to go down? Obviously, I would have fixed that beforehand to make sure that it went down the route that I wanted it to go down, but
I think in Magic we call it Hobson's choice, right? Where you give the audience or people the illusion of choice, but you already predetermine which direction you're going down. Yeah.
yeah,
Giving,
exactly
giving
that.
away
Yeah.
professor secrets. I say, what do you want to talk about today? A, B, or C? Knowing they didn't know, but I knew they were going to get A, B, C, whatever they picked.
Yeah. I think this format in itself, I've been a huge fan of it, having multiple people talking like what we're doing right now, right? It reduces just from a presentation perspective. I would think and hope it kind of reduces fatigue for any audience members not having to listen to one person keep speaking through the entire time. Always wondered why more webinars don't do it. Don't follow a similar conversational thing, because normally even if they have two speakers, it's like speaker one you get the first 10 minutes, speaker two you get the next 10 minutes, and so on. It's in series. It's not in parallel. Just curious. Have you seen B2B marketers, people who run webinars, do a similar, like a podcast or a live stream kind of a format?
Well, I think we're creatures of habit. And I think part of the challenge is that, we're used to presenting one way, and then also conferences had schedules they had to fit, so that was easier to control. But if you look at people who want engagement, look at what the shopping channels did. They didn't have just one person. They either had two people talking back and forth. Look at the best comedians. They had a straight man and the comic. So I think the challenge was that in these platforms, it was very hard to do. So yes, I think it's much more interesting when we're talking back and forth, and Saeed can talk about how he did this for one shot, and Martin could give us the history, and then we talk back and forth. I think that's more interesting to listen to. And it also gives people an opportunity to speak. What you're doing with StreamAlive is giving the best ability of that opportunity for those people who are remote through text. And, I think, Martin, you probably could, if you had it set up here, we could pull people up from a Zoom if we had a bunch of people in the Zoom room. So, I like to sort of mix this. You have the people talking back and forth. You might ask questions so they're the answer the masses, but then you can pull somebody remote in. And I think just changing it up makes such a difference. And I don't think it's because people are lazy. I think people just don't know they can do it. And it takes practice to do. So I think, when it works beautifully. And the question is, how do we get more people to see the value? And it doesn't take them a long time to do it. I think in the early days of Zoom, when you could put a poll up or you could do Q&A, it just had too much friction. So that's been removed as we get better and better at integration.
Even if you remove like the layer of actual live streaming, if you just you can do something in Zoom and call it a webinar, and it's just a format. It's not a matter of the platform, and you can have like a panel of 3 people or of 2 people at least, and it's not that hard. You don't need any software like we are usually doing. You can just have like, I think it's called multi-speaker or something, and 2 people are highlighted, or whoever is a speaker pops up, right? So technically that is easy to handle. I think it's also like we briefly discussed in the beginning, it's a trust issues. So for me personally, when I collaborate with someone, I think it somehow needs to vibe, or we need to, be such, whatever, chemistry is the word I'm looking for. So it has to be something, okay, it makes sense to be with this person on stage. I know him or I know her, or we've done something before. We have like the same understanding, or even if we don't like agree on everything, there is like a certain thing I can just rely on. And I don't know if this is for everyone. So if you have this person, because otherwise you're just 2 random dudes on stage. It doesn't change. It makes it even more awkward. So if you don't know how to throw the ball or how to pick up the ball, right, then it's not a conversation anymore. It's just really, it gets really awkward. Or you do it and then it's scripted. Okay, I do part A and then you do part B, and then it's basically just 2 different webinars put on top of each other. Also, in my opinion, maybe it still makes a difference, but not the best format I would pick if I could. There should always be like a winged part. There should be room for improv. There should be room for a question. And for me, so for the audience, I think to your original question, it makes a lot of sense to just, you hear a different voice, breaks the pattern instantly, right? And some like me more, some like let's say Martin more, right? And then you can just pick who you want to pay more attention to during this 60 minutes. But for me as a presenter or as a host, facilitator, whatever, I think it helps me personally to have someone, to have a wingman or a wing woman. So okay, if you sense or I don't know, he lost track of what he was going to say, or he's rambling, or I don't know, then Martin, what do you think? I don't even know what the question is anymore, but I know, okay, Martin will pick it up from there. I can sort my thoughts, and then I get back on track, or I will read through the chat, or I do whatever I was doing. So yeah, it has to be a good match. That's a very, very long story, a little bit less long.
No, I think the chemistry part is important, but that sort of answered what Lux said. When Zoom let you do multiple pinning on a screen, it was partly because people wanted to be able to see 2 people talking together or 3 people in a panel. And even when I don't have somebody else when I'm doing my workshops, I usually have somebody, whether it's my TA or somebody I know, to be that break within the show. And because I'm known for horrible dad jokes, they literally had signs that said, "Stop the jokes," So you need that sometimes in a presentation.
Yeah.
So I think, I think also, having done quite a lot of these with multiple people, I find 2 or 3 people is where you want to go. This nice format with the 4 of us works really well. And it is about the eye breaks and it changing places and then bringing in Lux sharing his screen and things like that. If you're just sitting there next to one another for 45 minutes and that's it, and nothing else moves, then I find that incredibly dull to watch and boring. And yet, at the moment, there is a complete push towards, oh yeah, the simplest is the best, and that's the way to do things. And you'll hear a lot of people say that. Nearly always the people who are saying that have already got a following on YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever, and people will turn up and look at their content, and they don't care what you look like. But if you want to grab attention nowadays on any of these platforms, then you need to do that visually first of all, and whether that's StreamAlive or just the way we're sitting on the screen or an animated intro, whatever it is, you need to grab your attention straight away, because otherwise they're just going to flick through. They're off to the next thing. So if you think that just sitting there with your big face on the screen all the time is engaging, it's just not. It's just, the stats are skewed by people who've already got a big following and then just tell you all you need to do is show up. It's not good enough anymore.
I would also say that there's a fine line between how much you should do. Just because you have all the bells and whistles does not mean you have to use them all like in a 30-minute session, or leave something for tomorrow. So yes, keeping it simple does not mean keeping it plain. I've seen like live streams is maybe a different format, but I've seen even like people doing it in let's say Zoom or in a video conference. What was that confetti effect for, or the sound effect? Why? Because you celebrated something you said. That's very odd, and you just, there's a point of, am I just showing off what I can do, or does it support what I'm doing, right? And of course, I know Martin, you and I always say this. Of course, I'm showing off because I'm showing you possibilities of what can be done. I don't tell you, please do everything you are seeing. No, this is a demo. This is just, I want just to excite you a little bit and show you what's possible. But when it's up to you, to your session, please calm down a little bit, take a step back, and just see what is actually like useful. You don't need to have 7 different cameras if you're just doing a webinar. Why should a camera show me from behind while I'm showing a PowerPoint slide, right? That's too much. I can do it. I have all the tech, but it would not add any value, and it gets confusing over time. Yeah. But yeah, there's wherever the middle ground is. I think that's or the sweet spot.
More than the middle
that's
ground.
what you pick.
Yeah, but my recommendation is that you think of these, whether it's interactions or engagement, whatever, a little bit like seasoning on a salad. You want a little salt, you want a little pepper, you might want Parmesan on your salad, but you shouldn't throw it all on. I'm gonna have to come up with a better analogy, because when I was teaching, I used to say the PageMaker effect. And we're of an age that we know when PageMaker came out that just because you could put 400 fonts in one document, that probably wasn't a good idea. And I think it's so I refer to the PageMaker effect, but I realize that I'm dating myself, because somebody said, what's PageMaker? And I go, oh, okay, there was a thing called books.
I just realized that when Martin said 45 minutes of 4 people sitting right next to each other, he described every single panel discussion at every conference. That's exactly what it is.
Especially if the others are not talking. You're just looking at one of the 4 is like, talking, and the other 3 are doing something totally different, or just sitting there waiting for then take them off camera, please, for the moment. That would work, so I don't need to see all the 4 of you if you don't have like a part for the next 25 minutes. You're just taking away like canvas for the person who's the actual speaker at the moment. Yeah. But again, still better than like the original version is, okay, let's just show up, and it's just a very regular Zoom meeting, and there is like no effort put into it. So at least they are like all 4 on stage. This for us, we are maybe spoiled. We have seen a lot of things. We have done a lot of things ourselves. But for someone who's doing this the first time, oh, I have this great idea. Why not showing the 2 of us on? Yeah, go for it. I mean, that is already like the first step, and from there you can still evolve. So my whole point here, although that's my product and what I'm selling, right? So, yeah, you don't need to shoot for the moon or to aim for be like 1% or 10% or whatever, better than like your last webinar or your last session. Or hire someone like Martin, or reach out to me if you need like a little bit support. I have like need to the product placement. We edit later in post.
No, that's so true. I mean,
sponsored content. Yeah.
You know, put sponsored content. No,
Well, time for a hydration break. Time for a hydration break, I think. Then.
Let's see, I'll do this one post ranch. Probably can't even see the advertisement.
A Said, Martin, question for you, and John, for you as well, since you're also pretty close on Zoom. Since Said, Martin, both of you do a lot of sessions yourselves. You do it for clients. You organize it for different folks, and you do a lot of Zoom sessions. There's one thing I've never figured out. With Zoom, they have all these beautiful options like multi-speaker view and dynamic gallery view and all of it, right? But those need to be configured at the viewer end, correct? Meaning each viewer can determine how they are going to see the view, unless you decided you're pinning one particular speaker, which is kind of what we do for you, spotlighting one speaker. And in that case, you use something like Ecamm or OBS, and you use that video screen to show everything. But someone who's not necessarily doing that, is there any other way to get people having the kind of experience that you think you're delivering to them? Because you might be doing all these amazing things that's seen in this big screen, but if they're seeing you in gallery view, they're hardly seeing any of those things, right? Is there a way around it, or is it just not possible?
Well, I mean, you can, what people got upset with is, when we would go share a screen, it took over the screen, put the other one back there. And that was good in academic settings because you controlled what they're going to see. But there is a lot of freedom that people have. One of the strengths of Zoom is the fact that the end user can make those modifications. But the easiest way to make sure they're seeing what you want them to see is doing what Martin is doing right now. We're in a Zoom meeting and we're seeing each other and we're seeing the other things, but he's determining what's going out to the audience. Now, you can't stop them from making this a little window, and when you do your share screen, they're seeing it in the stream. It's not pulling up the full control of the window. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether Zoom it knows what's happening at the other end, because Zoom is it's requesting what resolution it wants to get. So it'd be interesting to ask somebody who's a better Zoom guy than me. I might know someone, what level of control can you force the end screen to be? But right now, Martin's like in the twilight zone. You're going to see it this way, you're going to see it that way, but you could pop from me to full screen to just me to the screen with the four of us. So he's in control. And actually, I think when you can afford somebody to actually do that, you really are going to improve your presentations. And Martin, I'm always amazed because most people who have this sophisticated of a set don't try to be on the set. And you make it seem so smooth because I know you're engaged with this, but I also know you could push a button and make me disappear.
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute.
Just because he's not here today, I also big shout out to Neil, who cannot be here, but yeah, also of course a magician, especially for when it comes to all the Ecamm stuff and beyond. It's not about tools. You also have to know what you are doing and how a production should look like and what makes sense for the host and for the audience. Of course, not just about having buttons to push, right? There's also a concept behind it. And what we are referring to is like spotlight mode in Zoom. In Microsoft Teams, there is, I don't know, it's highlight. It works differently, but it's all, and personally, so for all the things that I do, to where I am the host, of course, it's the second thing I do. I put myself in spotlight mode because you need at least 3 people in the room to spotlight yourself. So either you have like a bot or co-host already in, so you're kind of 3 people, you can do this before. Otherwise, while people are joining, it takes like 2 seconds to quickly spotlight yourself because from then, spotlight mode cannot be overwritten by the audience. So even if they switch to something else, they still see. And it's not about being a control freak, but yeah, that's the whole point of what I'm doing here. I want you to see what I'm showing. And if I don't have anything on my screen, then we use the gallery mode or the speaker mode. I don't care which mode you pick. If you want to see the others, you want to just see, that's totally on you. But if it's about my content, I will make sure that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm using, of course, different tools, but yeah, I also bring like audience on stage, so they're not missing the gallery. They are somewhere like here, like the full Zoom gallery, so they see like friendly faces and everything. So after a while, you should be just forgetting. That's my whole for what I'm trying to achieve. At a certain moment, you should just forget that you're in a Zoom meeting. It doesn't matter anymore. Just looking at something, right? And then all you need is probably the chat, and then you have whatever I'm showing and controlling. So let me drive. I don't.
Got it. And curious side for that spotlighting and everything, you're using your Stream Deck presumably for a lot of those things, right?
Unfortunately, so Martin will disagree with me because it's a different story. But there is no Stream Deck button for highlighting. in Zoom directly. That's why I'm at full disclosure. I know. But anyhow, it's 2 clicks. So you right click on your face or in the participants list and then select Spotlight. And to our previous conversation, you can even add someone to the Spotlight. So I can have 2 people spotlighted, whatever. So you can have these 2 people being there the whole time, like in side by side. That also works.
And
But
speaking
yeah,
of,
it's
Yeah,
sorry,
we
go
also have the option to have a Zoom active speaker as well. So one of my placeholders here could be an active speaker, and they can just be in my gallery, and as soon as they speak, they will appear on screen and drop into where John is sitting, for instance. And that could be anybody from the gallery. You need to police the way that the audio is controlled in that case, because if you just let everybody have their audio on, then they're going to jump into the active speaker all the way. So you have to say, hey, John, do you want to come off a mute and then speak? And then John will jump into the placeholder for the active speaker. So I don't have to predetermine everybody here. I can pick anybody at all from that Zoom gallery, and they will jump in to the active speaker space as soon as they speak.
And actually, the way that works in Zoom is pretty handy because you can mute everybody, and then if somebody wants to speak, they may raise their hand or whatever. Then you ask them, do you want to unmute? And it means they are in control, but they also, I'm ready to talk. Then they unmute, and once they speak, they pop right onto the screen.
Got it.
But this is also something that if you know what you're doing, right? This is part of the checklist. So there are like certain settings. Again, I'm talking about Zoom because there's like too many options, to be honest, and they are not all in the same space. Some are in the app, some are in the back end, some there are, I don't know where they come from, to be honest. But certain things like I like to. There's a checkbox that says everybody joins on muted. Because people don't know, you're in the middle of something, we have music playing, and whoever joins will be yelling at their kids or their dog or whatever, not knowing at the moment that they're already live because you open the waiting rooms. That's one thing I always like to make sure, at least when they join. Of course, yeah, you can restrict. So yes, what you said is true. You can mute everyone, but there are also 2 options. One is, I mute everyone, but they can still unmute themselves if they like. So just in case I hear someone coughing or talking, I have a button on the Stream Deck muting everyone except the host, which is one of my favorite buttons. But the other one is also, they cannot unmute until they raise your hand and you actively hand them the mic. Getting back to the previous conversation, this depends on, are you alone or is there someone with you? So how much do I have to manage if someone raises the hand, or if someone unmutes themselves, I have to look them up. Where are they in the list? While I'm trying to present, and I get out of flow if I have a Martin or if I have Neil with me or whoever is my co-pilot. Yeah, I don't need to worry. I know they also heard it. They know what to do. I can just keep rolling, right? So yeah, but for certain things, you can at least try to avoid them in a technical way.
That's interesting. You're talking about human co-pilots. I thought all co-pilots were AI, but yes.
That's Microsoft one, right? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's all over.
That's the worst.
Oh, well, we're going to have to end the stream now. You've
paperclip
mentioned
when we need
Microsoft.
Yeah, it will end itself. Don't worry.
Yeah, it will. It will do an upgrade any second now, just regardless of whether you want it to or not. However, believe it or not, that's an hour up, gentlemen. We've done an hour already. So I think I get to play the new intro/outro video for 30 seconds. And Lux, we're on again next week. What's our topic for next week, or do we don't know?
Oh, we don't know. We don't know what our topic was for this week. So
we repeat this week's topic. Nobody will notice. So let's just do it again next time.
So we put a topic and we talk about some things. The two are not necessarily connected. Yes.
Yeah, if we don't mention what it's going to be, then we're always right, aren't we? So that's right. Cheerio from sunny Edinburgh, everybody.
Take care, everyone.